Call to order the City Council meeting of January 22nd, 2018. Sandy, please call the roll.
D'Angelo.
Here.
Bogo. Jaworski.
Here.
Kowski. Here. Levon.
Here.
Sakis.
Here.
Saloto. Here.
Approval of council minutes of January 8, 2018.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Sakis to approve the council meeting minutes of January 8, 2018. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
D'Angelo.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Good evening, everyone. Obviously, we just talked about finance and the budget a bit, which was the majority of last week. We did have another Euclid Avenue corridor meeting, Euclid Avenue business meeting, which was also last week. The group is growing, we're getting a little more structure. And again, looking at just how do we bring more people to Euclid Avenue, to the businesses that we do have, try to work on as time goes on our zoning, and to make things flow a little better. Working on some events, want to start planning a taste of Wickliffe just to get people to the restaurants, one thing for example. So if anyone knows any of the property owners, business owners on Euclid Avenue, make sure, even if they've already been invited 2 or 3 times, make sure you invite them. Next meeting is February 21st, 3 p.m. at the Center for Pastoral Leadership, Bormeo right there next to Ganley. So again, good group, they're working on that. This week, got a few meetings set up. One gentleman from the Greater Cleveland Partnership, talk about a few development opportunities, and then I had a property developer call me after Mr. Formica's email went out for the city-owned property, so we're going to have a conversation. I believe Councilman Sakis is joining us on Wednesday. I'm going to be sending out letters to the property owners as well, just encouraging them to get more involved. And again, I want to have a better relationship with those folks than was in the past, and just try to get more done on that front. But other than that, it's going to be mainly working on the budget and talking with a lot of business owners, trying to hear their concerns and then bring those back here as time goes on. Work on changing some ordinances and just making things a little more business friendly. I would like to also call an executive session after this to discuss the labor negotiations.
Okay, we'll move executive session to line item 18 on the agenda and move adjournment to 19.
And then can I add an item into the committee now, or should I do that at the...
What would you like to add into a committee?
So reviewing the ordinance that prohibits alcohol sales on public property, to entertain that if we did have a city type event, similar to our bicentennial, or to have like a wine tent, beer tent example. So I want to add that into legislation and welfare committee.
Okay, we'll add alcohol sales on public property to the legislation and welfare committee.
And that is all I have today.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Seeing none.
So I had one thing.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up, but since you were talking about business owners, trying to get in front of all the business owners here in the city of Wickliffe, I'm wondering if it wouldn't be possible for us to, and I know I don't want to upset anybody in a Lake County Chamber of Commerce type situation, and you're certainly very involved, but what if we sort of resurrected a Wickliffe Chamber of Commerce concept and invited all of the Wickliffe business owners to attend?
Yeah, and we could. I mean, this Euclid Avenue corridor meeting could morph into that. I think our focus was Euclid Avenue at first because that's where everyone's focus is. But I wouldn't be...
Just thinking back to my olden days, my mom was very involved, as you may all know, in starting the Wickliffe Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And what was wonderful about the Wickliffe Chamber of Commerce was that it was a closer knit type experience. People went to a Wickliffe restaurant, a local restaurant to meet, once a month. Everyone got much more involved, and there was a closer knit community feeling than us being part of a whole, and the Lake County Chamber of Commerce is phenomenal, and they're going to do so much for
us. Just to make it more.
But just to have a smaller group, it doesn't even have to be, you don't even have to call it the Chamber of Commerce, but I really think that it would go a long way in bringing all of the business owners together and giving them a voice, and I don't know, just something to maybe put into committee, but I don't know what committee that would be.
Yeah, definitely not opposed to it. I mean, I'd say we run with the Euclid Avenue corridor meetings, maybe a few more meetings, and then just see where
That
we branch
involves Lake
off
County though.
from
I'm
there.
talking about just a Wickliffe group.
Well, no, because the Euclid Avenue corridor meeting has just been Wickliffe.
It's running by the Lake County Chamber.
No, I mean, they, essentially at the last meeting, they handed it over to the city. They helped invite people, they helped organize it for the first couple meetings, but they're not, I guess, I own it at this point.
Okay.
I guess the
All right.
best way to put it. So
Okay.
they're not, they'll still help just with resources, the connections, the relationships, reaching out to people, but they're not, it's not per se run by them.
Okay.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, civic committees or civic organizations, that's not a power of municipalities. In other words, you can have organizations like that, but they can't be a municipality, that organizations, that's not a government function, a civic organization, which I think that kind of, is that where you're going with that?
The Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, I mean, usually they're not run by a city, they're an independent organization.
Right.
Right, and I didn't know if you meant for the city to develop a chamber, like this government to form a chamber of commerce,
Right.
which I don't believe we
Wouldn't
can
have anything
do.
to do with the city.
Right, that's not a function of
Where it's
municipality,
It's
but,
gotta be separate.
right, you know, where I think, you know, maybe ideas or something like that happen, and like, you know, government could partake in that or have a representative of the board, but that's not a municipal function for us to organize a civic organ, just organize a civic.
Okay.
Does it kind of make?
No, yeah, no, I
clarify?
understand what you mean. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I'm just thinking about more of a Wickliffe group of business owners together. If you're trying to
Yeah.
get them all together around the table, maybe it'd be more apt to get around the table
If it's just
if
Wickliffe,
it was
yeah.
just Wickliffe.
Yeah, makes sense.
Any other questions or comments for the mayor, safety director? Reports and communications from the director of law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I mentioned at the last meeting that all new council persons, and then I believe for our current council person, council people for their new terms, there is a certain amount of training that you have to do, and there are some sunshine law certification training coming up. There's one coming up at Lakeland Community College, and that's on Tuesday, May 15th. There's another one through the Ohio Municipal League that's going to be in Independence on Saturday, March 24th. So those are a couple current ones coming up. If anyone's interested, they can contact me or Sue Felice about signing you up for that. And if anyone, I know a lot of people do online type stuff now. I believe there's also online training you can do through the Attorney General's office. So if anyone's interested in that, I can forward a link to you, you know, on that type of stuff. A lot of people don't have the time to get out now, but for online training. So if you're interested in any of these sessions or the online link, just contact myself or Sue and we can set you up with that.
And for the new members of council, Sue will send out periodic, when she finds out these dates, she will send them out to us via email, let us know about these dates as well, okay?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the law director? See none. Communications from council president, I have none. Additions or amendments to the agenda? Councilman Kutakis.
I would like to add, under new business, address the health benefits for council.
Okay, new business, item C, health benefits for elected officials.
Mayor, alcohol sales.
Oh, good call. He just moved it in, he didn't talk about new business. He just wanted to put that in the committee. Okay, health benefits for elected officials. Any other new additions or amendments to the agenda?
I have one more. I would like to talk, be the next item, economic development.
We'll mark economic development for new item, or new business, item D. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none. Administrators, Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to my monthly report is a few pieces of information I'd like the council to be aware of. Right now, we're testing 40 people to be for our dispatch position. So that process started kind of slow. We got 40 applicants, so they're down there being tested actually right now. The city council had an opportunity to look at our Facebook page. There are two videos on there. Did City Council have a chance to look at those? I wish you would do that. In your travels, if you have a few minutes, take a look at our Facebook page. We update some of the most critical things that we're involved with. On January 12th, there was a fire, and 3 of our employees literally saved a person's life. So I have a commendation letter. I'd like to read it to you. This is to Mayor Barbara. I would like to commend Patrolman Kevin Ancuda, Fitch, and Dispatcher Donald Stein for their life-saving actions at Johnson's Trailer Park, 30335 Euclid Avenue, lot number 20, by pulling a 75-year-old man from a trailer fully engulfed in flames. At about 4:35 hours, or 4 o'clock in the morning, January 12th, 2018, the Wickliffe Police Dispatch Center received a call of a trailer fire at Johnson Trailer Park. Police and fire personnel were dispatched. Patrolman Ancuda was the first officer on the scene and reported the trailer to be fully engulfed in flames. At the same time that Patrolman Ancuda arrived, Dispatcher Stein received a 911 call from the homeowner who was trapped inside the trailer with no way to get out. Soon after, Patrolman Fitch arrived, as the Woodlook officers Sergeant Hers, Patrolman Lawrence, and Patrolman Cook. Dispatcher Stein remained on the 911 call with the homeowner, who was becoming more frantic by the second, asking for somebody to come and get him out. Officers walked around the trailer looking for a viable exit, but found none. The homeowner had become trapped by burning flames into the rear bedroom of the trailer, with the only possible point of escape a small vent window, not large enough for a man to fit through. Patrolman Ancuda broke out the window of the window vent with his ass baton, and then Patrolman Cook from Willowick retrieved a Halligan tool, which is kind of like an axe, from the back of his car. Patrolman Cook from Willowick then used that Halligan tool to widen the opening, and then they pulled the 75-year-old man out of the trailer. A few moments after that, the hole that they pulled him out of was engulfed with flames. Shortly after police rescued the victim, the fire department arrived on the scene and extinguished the fire. After having watched the police dash cam and speaking to the officers involved, I'm convinced that these 5 officers, including Patrolman Ancuda and Fitch, saved the homeowner from certain death. It should be noted that Dispatcher Stein kept the homeowner on the phone, providing vital information to the officers on the scene, guided him to the location where he was at inside the trailer. These 5 officers, Patrolman Ancuda, Fitch, Willock officers Hers, Cook, and Lawrence, along with Dispatcher Stein, displayed courage, sense of urgency, team-oriented, and professionalism in carrying out their duties, and certainly noteworthy, and I commend them for a job well done. It should also be noted that the Lake County Associations of Chiefs of Police are looking at this incident for their life-saving award. The second video on our Facebook page was Willowick had a shoplifting complaint, and Patrolman Kusi stopped the guy in Wickliffe, and he had stolen laundry pods, and he had them under his shirt. I don't know if you saw the video, it looked like he's kind of obvious, yeah. So he broke away from Patrolman Kusi. Kusi chased him down and tackled him. In doing so, he sprained his ribs. He ended up going to the hospital. But the interesting thing is, during that video, a citizen came over and helped them secure him until the other officers arrived. So those are just a couple of noteworthy things that occurred. Yeah.
Councilwoman Cassie.
That was a very entertaining video. I was cheering when I was watching it, especially since the officer is so much smaller than the guy that he
Yeah.
tackled.
Well, that's why I got hurt. He fell on him.
And it looked like they slid a great distance too. Must have still been icy.
I don't know if it was icy or not. He's trying to get, if you look at the officer, you see him keep reaching down at his side. He's trying to get his taser out to drive stun the guy to get the compliance. He eventually did after the citizen came over and helped out.
He did a great job.
Yeah. The heroin fentanyl problem is continuing on. On Friday, we had another 26-year-old male die from a heroin overdose. This is the third one this year in Wickliffe. And when the coroner came out, the officer said, you know, how many have you guys had this year? He said 3. And all 3 of them have been in Wickliffe. So I certainly hope this is not a trend we're going to look forward to. And we had 12 last year. At this rate, we'll have 36, but I'm sure it'll slow down. But it's still something that's consuming our society. And then I mentioned another heroin overdose death at the Fair Bridge. That was on November 11th. And I explained to you at the time that there are two gentlemen in the room that dragged him out and let him die. Our detectives have put hundreds of hours of manpower into this case, and we got arrest warrants for both of the suspects. One we arrested, and he's in the county jail right now. The second one, the charge is corrupting another with drugs and tampering with evidence for both of these guys. We've been looking hard for the second person, and we've got a hold of the Federal Marshal's task force, and they're assisting us in trying to find him. So that will conclude my report this evening.
Council President Gasky.
Chief, I was wondering if you can give us an update on those 3 police cars that were damaged a while.
All 3 of them are fixed.
Okay.
There was not a lot of damage. We were fortunate enough because we have a $1,000 deductible,
Okay.
and the insurance company accepted it as one incident, so it was only $1,000. I think one of the cars had like $4,000 damage. One had $3,500. The other one like $2,000. So the expense for us was $2,000.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Ice. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. In addition to my monthly report, we have several miscellaneous things happening here. We've had an uptick in several fires in the area. Fortunately, there's only been one in the community here, and that was just yesterday. We had a house fire on Duranic. Well, I say it's a small house fire. Any fire in your home is a big incident. So fortunately, we were able to contain it fairly quickly. And then, of course, as everyone knows, and the CDC has been telling us, we're getting inundated with calls for the flu from our elderly population. And we're taking a lot of people to the hospital. It's having some effect on my personnel because we're treating so many people with the flu. Flu is very contagious, and it has that impact on us. Some good news here, and I sent this to council and the mayor today. FEMA's accepted our hazard mitigation plan for the county, of which we contribute to. And that's really important for us because if we had a major natural disaster in the city or a man-made disaster, FEMA now will help reimburse us if it's declared a disaster. And we participate doing various things through actually the service department, police department, fire departments to make sure that we are part of this so that money will come back to us if we need it. We did a walkthrough in ABB the other day. ABB unfortunately is leaving us, but I have to tell you they're a good corporate citizen and they're going through this whole process of decommissioning their building very strategically and within code compliance. They're expected to be out at the end of the month, and as I sent in the email, the building is going to be decommissioned, if you would, and all utilities will be shut off and the building will be just secured. As you know, some of our responsibilities are telecommunications for the city. We've encountered a problem with compatibility. We're getting this new phone system put in probably in the next couple months finally. We're waiting on AT&T to relinquish the lines to the county. One of the problems we encountered is that the recording devices that we have on the phones at the police department aren't compatible. And it's in an older system anyway. So we're gonna have to find a way to find $14,769 to put a new recording system into this phone budget to make this work. There is some contingency funds left over right now. We don't know how much funding will come back to us as part of that contingency fund. We're hopeful we'll get a good portion of this $14,000 back to us. And Mr. Council President, that concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Doles.
I do not have any additional other than my monthly report.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Mr. Olds. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of things to add to my written report. Listed in that report, we talk about the Maple Street Water Main and Pavement Improvements Project. That's a project that we have funding for that we should be receiving in July. I'd like to ask council to put that in the appropriate committee so that we can discuss that and see if we can't move forward with the planning and design of that project, so that we can have specifications and plans ready for bid.
Pete. We already have the 2018 pavement improvements infrastructure projects in that committee. We would just throw Maple in there as part of that plan? Okay. So it's already in there, we'll just make sure that Maple is a target street for that project.
Now, then I'd like to call a improvement committee meeting at 7 PM on Monday the 29th.
Okay.
To discuss that topic.
Also, at the mayor's request, we've sent out drawings to local developers and builders of drawings of the Pine Ridge Valley Estates property, which is that property north or south of Bridle Path Trail, and also of the city-owned properties between Rockefeller Road and Lloyd Road. I've sent that out to approximately 15 different developers and builders. I did hear from one developer, and we're meeting with him this week just to talk about that with the mayor. So just to give you an update on that.
Any other questions or comments for the engineer? Thank you, Mr. Formica. Service Director D'Ambrosia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Because of the break in weather, we're doing as much building maintenance as we can, especially inside. Also, though, we are patching the road the best we can with the cold patch. Obviously, you know, asphalt plants are closed, so we're just putting down a cold mix right now. Going through all the mains first, and then we're going to go through all the secondaries. We're going to try to take care of as much of the city as we can. As you know, the three-star just took a beat. Our streets took a beating with this winter. It's not even half over yet, so we're doing the best we can with the road repair. And that pretty much concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for the Service Director, Councilwoman Kosky?
Were you able to take a look at the stop sign?
Yes, we did take a look at the stop sign. There are some restrictions or regulations that need to be done. We did talk to the mayor about that.
Can I address that real quick? So I'd say, the next day, I drove down there, I watched someone speed down the street, and I thought, oh, this would be a good place for a stop sign to break up the road a little bit. Told Joe to put one in. He goes, yeah, I'll put one in Friday. Talked with Chief Ice, and apparently I can't just put stop signs wherever I want. So put the kibosh on that. There's a lot of traffic studies you have to do beforehand. So it didn't make sense to have all these studies done to put a stop sign up. So a lot of that's done at the state level. So we couldn't get one there, unfortunately. You can't use them to slow, you can't use them to regulate speed, what it boils down to.
I thought there had been one there in the
It was probably unwarranted. That's why it was removed. I believe there was one on Talmadge and Franklin at one time too, that was also removed for the same reason.
Any other questions or comments for the Service Director? Thank you, Mr. D'Ambrosia. Building Commissioner Say.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just have one thing to add in my report. Could you put in the appropriate committee, Chapter 921.05, the weed notices? The mayor and I talked about an increase in that.
Okay, we'll add Chapter 921.05, weed notices to the Legislation and Welfare Committee. Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Mr. Say. Recreation Director Stock.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one comment. I want to thank everyone who showed up for our annual Winterfest over at Greeners Golf Course. We had about 200 people over there, so we had some good fun time. We had good weather for that, and now the snow's all gone. So we lucked out and had some snow. So thank you for all those who supported. We were able to. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Councilman Davis.
Yeah, I just want to say great job. It was a great event, It was nice to see the families there and the kids having fun, and it was just put on very nice, so thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the recreation director? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Stock. I will now open up the floor for audience participation. We ask that you stand, state your name and address for our records. Would anyone like to address the City Council? Would anyone like to address the City Council? Seeing none, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. The Finance Committee met on January 16, 2018, called to order at 7 p.m. Purpose, Safer Grant. Present, Bianello, Bogo, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Sakis. Excused, Salato. Also present, Fire Chief Powers, Finance Director Doles, Service Director D'Ambrosia, and Mayor Barbish. Fire Chief Powers explained to Council that he applied for this FEMA grant, and we were awarded on September 1st, 2017. This grant states that we are required to hire 3 full-time employees within 180 days, which is February 25th, 2018, and the grant has a 3-year time period. He explained the cost structure of this grant. Over the 3 years, the city will be responsible for approximately $410,000, while FEMA will provide approximately $585,000. The bulk of the city's portion will be in the year 2020. The 3 full-time firefighters we will be hiring will increase our staffing and decrease our budgeted overtime. It is estimated that the city's monetary portion for the grant in 2018 and 2019 will be equivalent to the decrease in estimated overtime we would pay if we didn't utilize the grant. The grant has some stipulations. Once we hire the 3 new firefighters, the fire department will be required to maintain that full-time staffing level throughout the 3-year life of the grant. This includes filling vacancies from retirement. We also need to maintain the number of part-time firefighters we use per shift, which is currently 2. We cannot hire any part-time personnel that was on our roster as of September 1st, 2017 to be one of the 3 full-time firefighters. And the administrative positions, such as the fire chief or fire prevention department, do not count towards staffing or operational positions. The chief and fire marshal will no longer be able to fill in for the staffing to meet desired minimum staffing needs. If we fail to comply with these stipulations, we will have to refund any monies back to FEMA. The city is currently vetting candidates for the 3 open spots, and the best candidates will be sworn in by February 25th. The committee had no objections with the city utilizing the grant, and they recommend it to be taken advantage of. This item is reported out of committee. Meeting is adjourned at 7:37, respectively submitted. The Finance Committee met January 22nd at 6:30 to discuss the 2018 budget. Present, Galileo, Bogo, Jaworski, Kasi, Levon, Sakis, Saloto. Also present, Ice, Formica, D'Ambrosia, Dole, Sack, Stop, Powers. The mayor presented a rough draft of his 2018 budget, which has a $800,000 deficit without making any changes. We currently have a carryover balance of $4.1 million as of the end of 2017. He's looked for initial feedback from council, such as layoffs, levies, and reciprocity. Small discussion ensued. The item will remain in committee. The meeting ended at 6:49, respectfully submitted. Councilwoman Sloto.
Yes, I'd like to read some minutes from the Keep Wickliff Beautiful committee.
Oh, that'll be the commission.
That's commission?
Yeah, so
Okay.
do you want to call your legislation and welfare committee?
Oh, I
meeting?
would. I would
Okay.
like to call legislation and welfare committee meeting for January 29th.
Yes. So, Pete, how long will that approved meeting last? 15 minutes?
15 minutes.
So, okay, so his will be at 7. Do you want to call yours for 7:15?
That's fine.
Okay. To discuss which topics?
Well, we're going to be discussing, we're still going to be discussing that, right, Ray? The sewer and dye test?
Sewer dye test.
But then also the
We notice.
weed notices, yeah.
And the liquor.
And the liquor, yes, and the alcohol consumption
Okay, so we'll have that
on
meeting
public property, yeah.
at 7:15 on
7:15.
the 29th.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to call a finance meeting for February 5th, Monday, February 5th, at 7 p.m. to discuss the 2018 budget. Any other committee reports?
That was at 7?
That's at 7 p.m., please. Commission reports. Councilwoman Sloto.
And now I can talk about the commission.
There you go.
That's right. The Keep America Beautiful Commission. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the paperless concept right here, because we're not gonna do paper anymore, right? So the 2017 volunteer statistics I thought were interesting. So Keep Wickliffe Beautiful volunteers donated approximately 835 hours of time in 2017, which is quite a bit. It's actually valued at $21,000 and some odd dollars, that amount of hours. It included litter cleanups, beautification of the rose garden and other areas, special recycling collections, etc., the Arbor Day ceremony, the holiday lighting program. Winterfest 2018, again, was held on January 13th at Green Ridge Golf Course, and we've already heard a little bit about that from Mr. Stopp, but it was very successful. They had a 50-50 raffle. They raised $60.50 for Keep Wickliffe Beautiful. And the winner was Linda Miller. It was also, they actually sold the Around Town coupon books too, where they were able to raise $462 for the project, which really comes in handy because it takes about $450 to host the shredding and recycling day that we have. So that's a wonderful way to raise that money. Upcoming events, so all of these events are actually going to be on the Wickliffe website, but let me just quickly throw them out. April 7th is the Rose Garden cleanup. April 21st is the Freeway Ramp cleanup. April 26th is the Arbor Day ceremony at noon. The location is still to be announced. April 28th is the Electrics and Computer Collection at the Lake County Fairgrounds. And May 12th is the Shred Files Collection, and that's at the Service Garage.
Okay. Any other commission reports? Councilman George.
There will be no planning commission meeting in February.
Any other commission reports? Seeing no old business, we move on to new business. New business item A, the mayor's appointment of Justin Ball to the sign review with term to expire December 31st, 2018.
Yes, so with council approval, I'd like to appoint Justin Ball, to the sign review board. This was filling a vacancy.
Make a motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Sloto, seconded by Councilman Sakis, to reaffirm the mayor's appointment of Justin Ball to the sign review board with the term to expire December 31st, 2018. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
D'Angelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kowski?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Soloto?
Yes.
New business item B, mayor's appointment of members to the Charter Review Commission.
Yes, I've got 9 names that I'm recommending for the commission. I also submitted, I think it was 4 alternates that, weren't on the agenda, but just in case someone, I confirmed with all these folks, but just in case someone has to drop out, because there's about 20 or so people that wanted to be on the commission. So with council approval, would appoint Mark Ozanek, Tom Thielman, Don Zimmerman, Dan Ivancic, Joe Yaslowski, Joseph Turi, Scott Britton, Linda Lipovic, and Sheila Walsh-Manfredi to the Charter Review Commission.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Bialillo, to reaffirm the mayor's appointment of the following people as the members of the Charter Review Commission: Mark Ozanek, Tom Thielman, Don Zimmerman, Dan Ivancic, Joe Yaslowski, Joseph Turi, Scott Britton, Linda Lipovic, and Sheila Walsh-Manfredi. Discussion? Cindy, please call the roll.
D'Angelo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kowski?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Soloto?
Yes.
Ordinances.
Ordinance number.
Sorry?
We had new business
Oh, yeah, we
C&D
have
that we
C.
added.
Oh, I'm so sorry. New business C, health benefits for elected officials. Mr. Sakis.
So I would like to get the ordinance back on and make a motion to the law director to prepare legislation replacing healthcare benefits for council members for terms beginning in 2022.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Jaworski, to authorize the law director to create an ordinance removing council health benefits effective January 1st, 2022. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biondello,
Yes.
Bogo,
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
New business, item D, economic development.
I would like to make a motion to allow the mayor to put out a request for proposal for an economic development firm in the city of Wickliffe, beginning upon completion of the current economic development coordinator's contract.
Second. Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Bond, to allow the mayor to create a request for proposal for an economic development coordinator for the city of Wickliffe to commence whence the current economic development coordinator's contract is completed. Discussion?
When is the current contract?
I believe he said was the end of March, is what I think that the mayor said.
Okay.
Councilwoman Sloto.
I'm just clarifying, so this will be an actual person, or would we put out an RFP to a firm?
This is for him to draw up the RFP. Once we get those RFPs come in, we'll call the meeting, he'll call the meeting, that you
Right.
guys will review the RFPs.
No, I understand that, but what will the RFPs be out to? Particular individuals or
It's open
economic
to
development firms?
anybody.
Open to all.
So if it's one person that wants to do it, or if it's a business, they can all submit requests.
Okay.
This way we have information, we know the cost, we'll have a better grasp going into the budget hearing.
Great.
Any further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biondello.
Yes.
Bogo,
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Ordinances.
Ordinance number 2018-01, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Sakis, to suspend the rules of council and place the ordinance number 2018-01 on third and final reading. Discussion?
Just one, I'm curious why this is an emergency and not the regular 3 readings.
I believe it's because to get this printed in time and included in everything. I think by the time they get back to us, it's usually at the, and Sue could probably answer this question better, but Drake, who does our ordinances, contacts us at the end of December. We gotta have it done, so it's a timing issue. Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add for the new council members to explain what this is every year we pass these various ordinances, like you'll do in some committees this year if you change these ordinances. We have our code, which you've all gotten, and what this does, it allows the company, is Drake, that actually codifies it, puts it into our code, makes the amendments to it each year. You pull the old pages out, certain new pages you have to put in based on this. This is the ordinance authorizing them to codify it for us. So that's all it's doing here, is just putting the legislation that you've passed into our official code.
Any further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biondello.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Jaworski, that ordinance 2018-01 be adopted. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biondello.
Yes.
Bogo.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2018-02, an ordinance providing temporary appropriations for current expenses as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Sakis, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2018-02 on third and final reading. Discussion?
What's the difference?
Yeah, I think we should read it. So,
Can you guys withdraw your
Yes,
motions real quick?
yes, I withdraw.
there was a clerical error here on our ordinance on our sheet. The correct ordinance, I want to read the correct title of the ordinance, just to make clear, it's for the record. It's ordinance number 2018-02, an ordinance providing temporary appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Wickliffe for the period beginning January 1st, 2018 and ending March 31st, 2018, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Sakis, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2018-02 on third and final reading. Discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to amend ordinance 2018-02 to add $14,769 to general government other costs for the purpose of purchasing a nice NRX Inform 7 Essential Core licensing recording system and other equipment needed for installation at the Wickliffe Police Department that the fire chief mentioned during his report. Let me done. I just a second.
Second.
Wait, we didn't vote on
I made a
this.
motion. We can amend the ordinance and then vote on the amended ordinance.
Okay, we didn't vote on the suspension, not did we?
Law director.
Yeah, I think first we'll suspend, and then we can amend the motion, make the motion to amend.
You want to vote on the suspension first and then?
Yes, and then we can vote on, that's how we handled it.
Withdraw.
I withdraw it then too. Let's vote on the suspension. Any discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kosky?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Adoption is amended.
Excuse me. I think we.
I have to make a motion. I have to make the motion, again, I'll make the motion to amend ordinance 2018-02 to add $14,769 to the general government other costs for the purchasing of an NICE NRX Inform 7 Essential Core Licensing and Recording System and related equipment needed for installation in the police department.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Levon, seconded by Councilman Jaworski, to add $14,769 to general government other costs for the purchasing of a NICE Inform 7 Essential Core License Recording System. Discussion? Yeah, Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kosky?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Adoption as amended.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilwoman Kosky that ordinance 2018-02 be adopted as amended. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kosky?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Resolutions.
Resolution number 2018-01, a resolution establishing a charter review commission, setting forth the compositions and duties of said commission, and establishing procedures for review of the charter of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilwoman Kosky to suspend the rules of council and place resolution 2018-01 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kosky?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Sakis, that resolution 2018-01 be adopted. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski?
Yes.
Kosky?
Yes.
Levon?
Yes.
Sakis?
Yes.
Saloto?
Yes.
Other legislation. Miscellaneous. I'll now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Bialillo to move into executive session. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Biandolillo?
Yes.
Bogo?
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break and meet back.